Have you ever looked into your dog's eyes and felt seen? Not just noticed, but truly, deeply understood. If that feeling sends a shiver down your spine, I'm here to tell you it's not a coincidence. You are not imagining it. In fact, what you are feeling is part of a silent, planetary event, an awakening that was described in stunning detail over 80 years ago by a man who saw the future in his sleep. His name was Edgar Cayce, the sleeping prophet, a man whose 14,000 documented predictions, from the crash of 1929 to the rise of the internet, came true with terrifying precision. But amongst his world-changing visions of wars and technology, there was one prophecy that was largely ignored, considered too fantastic, too gentle for its time. A prophecy about dogs, one that is no longer in the future, but is quietly unfolding in your living room right now. Cayce's visions didn't just show historical events, they revealed the spiritual evolution of the entire planet. And he stated unequivocally that dogs held a unique, pivotal role. When the consciousness of Earth quickens, the four-legged companions will activate, Cayce reportedly said during a 1943 session. They are not pets, they are disguised mentors, here to remind humanity of the frequency of unconditional love. Cayce saw dogs as living spiritual compasses, creatures hardwired to sense energetic shifts, foresee danger, and even facilitate healing simply by being present. He saw them retaining ancient abilities that humans had forgotten, abilities that would be reignited at a precise moment in our history. And here's what's truly astonishing. Cayce specified the exact catalyst for this canine transformation. He predicted it would become undeniable when humanity was plunged into a perfect storm of global crisis, worldwide health scares, environmental instability, dizzying technological acceleration, and a mass hunger for spiritual truth. Sound familiar? During one of his deepest trances, Cayce laid out 3 clear stages of this canine unveiling. The first stage would be the rise of dogs as sentinels, able to detect illness and danger before any instruments could. The second would transform them into empaths, capable of direct mind-to-mind connection with their humans. The third and most profound stage would reveal them as alchemists, able to actively cleanse negative energy and transmute emotional pain into peace. When a web of light connects all human minds, Cayce uttered in 1944, a clear nod to our hyper-connected internet age. The dogs will awaken to their true divine purpose. They will become our partners in the conscious elevation of this world. What makes this vision even more profound is Cayce's belief that many of these dogs, especially those finding homes during this era, are actually advanced souls, light beings who chose to incarnate in this form to be on the front lines of humanity's great shift. And here is the most critical piece of information. Cayce wasn't talking about a distant utopia. He was describing the world you and I live in today. The signs he predicted are erupting all around us. Dogs smelling cancer long before a diagnosis. Pets who appear to telepathically know when their owner needs them, even across continents. Animals who seem to be doing invisible energetic work in our homes. This isn't a collection of happy accidents. It's the grand unveiling of a sacred prophecy. The only question is, are you willing to see your dog for who they truly might be? Because once you understand what Cayce foresaw, your bond with your companion will never feel ordinary again. The canine awakening is not coming, it's here. And if you learn to look, you'll see it happening right under your own roof. In 1944, with the world engulfed in war, Edgar Cayce delivered a vision that must have sounded like pure science fiction. In the hushed room, his trance-induced voice described a future where the role of dogs would be fundamentally redefined. I see the guardians with 4 paws activating their true nature. Cayce articulated, his words sending a palpable energy through the room. As Earth's vibration lifts, dogs will serve as living bridges between the material and the divine. No longer just companions, but master teachers in fur coats, sent to anchor the frequency of unconditional love for humanity's passage. The prophecy he relayed that day detailed 3 distinct phases of this awakening. The first phase, he said, would coincide with a widespread spiritual seeking in humanity, which he pinpointed for the late 20th and early 21st centuries. In this stage, dogs would begin to demonstrate innate healing capabilities and a startling ability to sense disease. The second phase would be even more stunning. Casey foresaw dogs building direct telepathic links with their people, acting on thoughts before they were ever spoken. They would materialize at their human side at the precise moment of emotional need, as if summoned by an invisible, intelligent force. The third and final phase would reveal dogs as potent energetic alchemists. They would have the power to neutralize toxic energies within homes, hospitals, and even within individuals processing deep-seated trauma. Casey called this an emotional transmutation, the power to turn suffering into healing by their mere presence. What's so incredible is the context. This was 1944. Dogs were primarily tools, working animals, or guards. The notion of them as spiritual or therapeutic partners was completely foreign to the scientific mindset of the era. The sleeping prophet was even more precise, noting which dogs would lead this charge. He saw that while purebreds and mixed breeds alike would awaken, it would be the rescued and adopted animals that would have the most powerful connection to their life's mission, as if the act of being saved unlocked a sacred contract within them. During that very session, Casey dropped a bombshell that left his audience breathless. He declared that many dogs arriving during this time of awakening are, in fact, highly evolved souls who have willingly chosen an animal incarnation to assist in the great shift of human consciousness. They are high, vibrational beings disguised as our best friends. The prophecy also carried a solemn warning. Casey saw that not all of humanity would be equipped to see these changes. Many would brush off the incredible behaviors as mere coincidence or instinct. But for those whose hearts and minds were open, they would forge partnerships with their canine companions that would transcend anything seen before. The most chilling part of Casey's prophecy was its timing. He linked the mass activation of these canine abilities directly to the emergence of global pandemics, drastic climate change, and the exponential growth of technology. He was describing our exact reality today. If you share your home with a dog, you've likely noticed changes. Maybe they've become your shadow, staying closer than ever. Maybe they seem agitated right before you receive a stressful phone call, or show a new, intense sensitivity to certain people or places. These are not random quirks. They are the initial tremors of Casey's vision coming to life. Starting around the year 2000, veterinarians worldwide started whispering about a strange new trend. Dogs were displaying an intuition that defied all logical explanation. Dr. Marcus Rodriguez, a specialist in animal behavior, cataloged over 300 cases of dogs developing what he termed predictive empathy, the ability to anticipate their owner's emotional state before any physical clue was given. One of the most striking stories is that of Elizabeth Santos from New Jersey and her golden retriever, Bobby. The 6-year-old dog began physically blocking the front door, crying and refusing to let her pass on certain mornings. Elizabeth initially thought it was a behavioral problem until she kept a journal. Bobby only did this on days when she was heading into an exceptionally stressful situation at her job. It was like he knew I needed a mental health day before I did, Elizabeth recalls. The days he wouldn't let me leave, a major crisis would always erupt at work that I was better off avoiding. That's when it clicked. Bobby wasn't being disobedient. He was my guardian. But the science quickly evolved beyond emotional radar. Researchers at Duke University began to collect cases of dogs detecting diseases with mind-boggling precision. Not just the well-known cancer detection, but also diabetes, epilepsy, and even oncoming episodes of severe depression. The story of Luna, a 4-year-old Labrador, became famous after she started obsessively pawing at her owner Zhao's left arm for 3 straight weeks. Zhao dismissed it until Luna began barking urgently at the spot. A concerned trip to the doctor revealed a small, aggressive tumor that routine exams had missed, located in the exact spot of Luna's focus. Animal shelters began to see a shift as well. Dogs previously deemed unadoptable were suddenly forging immediate, profound bonds with specific visitors. It seemed as though the dogs were now choosing their people. Anna Claudia Ferrer, a shelter manager, explains, "It was a total reversal. The dogs started making the first move. They'd walk right up to people going through a hard time, a recent divorce, a loss in the family, a health battle. It was like they had a built-in sensor for who was most in need of unconditional love." Another massive clue was the explosion in certified therapy dogs. Between 2010 and 2020, the number of dogs trained for emotional support jumped by over 400%. The real story, however, was that many of these dogs were displaying these healing gifts before any training. Hospitals reported visiting dogs that would bypass happy, stable patients and head directly to the bedsides of those in critical condition. Nurses started seeing this canine intuition as a reliable, informal diagnostic tool for identifying patients needing extra support. Animal behavior centers documented dogs reacting to natural disasters with more and more advanced warning. Where they once grew restless hours before an earthquake, some are now alerting their families up to 48 hours in advance. What's most incredible is that these abilities are appearing everywhere, in every kind of dog. From a city, dwelling poodle to a farm, roaming mutt. It's a global, democratic awakening. But this was only the first stage. What was coming next was even more incredible. Picture this. You walk through your front door after an exhausting day, feeling the weight of the world on your shoulders. The moment your dog nuzzles against you, that heavy, draining energy seems to vanish. This isn't just your imagination. It is a very real skill that dogs are now mastering, the ability to act as powerful energetic purifiers. Dr. Rupert Sheldrake, a biologist celebrated for his research into unexplained phenomena, dedicated a decade to studying dogs with abilities that defy conventional science. His findings showed that dogs are developing a profound sensitivity to detect, and more importantly, neutralize negative energetic fields in people and places. One of his most well-documented cases involved the Thompson family in England. After moving into an old house, the entire family suffered from nightmares and a persistent feeling of being watched. Their German shepherd, Max, developed a nightly routine. He would patrol the house, pausing in specific spots, corners, doorways, and stand perfectly still for minutes, as if concentrating on an invisible task. Max performed this little ritual every single night, says Sarah Thompson. He'd take deep breaths in certain areas, let out a soft whine, and then give his whole body a vigorous shake, like he was flinging something away. After his patrol, we all slept soundly. The family brought in an energy healer who confirmed the house had pockets of dense, stagnant energy precisely where Max performed his ritual. Within weeks of Max's nightly work, both the healer and the family agreed the home's atmosphere was completely transformed. Hospitals and care facilities started seeing the same thing with therapy dogs. Nurses noted that certain dogs could sense heavy rooms and would hesitate to enter until the space was smudged or blessed. Once they entered, the patients in those rooms often experienced dramatic emotional turnarounds. Holistic healers now actively partner with these gifted canines. In energy healing sessions, some dogs are seen absorbing the negative energy their clients release, processing it through shivering, yawning, or frantic shaking, and then returning to a state of calm. Esther, a Reiki master, has worked with her dog Isis for 3 years. Isis lies by the client's feet. When we hit a major emotional block, I can see her body subtly tremble, as if she's processing the energetic discharge. Then she'll get up, shake it off, drink some water, and she's ready for the next person. People living in homes that have endured trauma, a death, a messy divorce, constant conflict, report their dogs spontaneously beginning these cleansing behaviors. They systematically move through the home, lying down for extended periods in places where negativity was densest, as if they are spiritual sponges soaking it all up. Some dogs are even developing the power to neutralize negativity through physical touch. The number of accounts of people feeling an instantaneous calm after a dog simply places a paw on them has skyrocketed. It's not just a comforting touch. Many report It feels like a conscious transfer of pure, positive energy. The story of Armando, a mutt adopted by Ferdinand, is a perfect example. Whenever a guest arrived at his home feeling sad or anxious, Armando would walk over and rest his paw on them for several minutes. Every single person reported an immediate feeling of peace and relief. Armando has an internal scanner for anyone who needs an energy boost. Ferdinand says, "He's never been wrong. And after his treatment, people always leave looking lighter, happier." The canine spiritual mission isn't just about cleansing. Many dogs are now acting as energetic protectors for their homes and families. They can feel a person with negative intentions approaching from a distance and create an invisible shield of protection. Social media is a daily flood of videos showing dogs performing seeming miracles. Dogs appearing from nowhere to pull a child from the path of a car. Pets rousing a family moments before a house fire. Animals finding lost people in impossible conditions. These are not isolated anomalies. They are the crescendo of Casey's prophecy, the evidence intensifying all around us. A case that went viral occurred in March 2023 in a small town in Brazil. Baya, an 8-month-old mutt, began barking uncontrollably in the middle of the night, frantically scratching at her owner's bedroom door. The family, annoyed, thought she just needed to go outside. But Baya sprinted directly to the room of their 6-month-old baby and continued her frantic barking. When the parents got to the crib, the baby was silent, blue, and not breathing. Doctors later confirmed that Baya's intervention was the only reason the child survived. The astonishing part, Baya had never shown such protective behavior before. It's as if her guardian mission switched on in the exact moment of need. Let me know in the comments, has your dog ever done something heroic that defied all explanation? Some inexplicable act of rescue or protection? Dr. James Serpell at the University of Pennsylvania Center for the Interaction of Animals and Society has been collecting these stories for years. His database now contains over 200 documented cases of dogs saving human lives in ways that baffle modern science. What we're seeing is beyond standard protective instinct, Dr. Serpell explains. These dogs display precognition. They react to a danger before any physical evidence exists. It's as if they're tapping into a stream of information they shouldn't have access to. The phenomenon becomes even more profound with dogs who save total strangers. In October 2023, a German shepherd named Thor broke out of his yard and ran 3 blocks to a building site. He began barking aggressively at a crew of workers, physically preventing them from entering one section. 20 minutes later, that very section collapsed in a pile of concrete and steel. Thor had never run off before, his owner reported. There's no way he could have known that structure was weak. It was as if he was dispatched on a life-saving mission. Before we go on, I want to invite you to the Quantum Thinking Challenge, a 21-day program where you'll reprogram your mind, raise your vibration, and unlock your full energetic potential. For 3 weeks, you'll have daily practices to transform your frequency and start attracting everything you desire. Access it in the first pinned comment. Now, just imagine you're miles from home and you simply think about heading back. And at that exact moment, your dog gets up and waits by the door, or your pet senses your sadness and comes to comfort you, even when you're putting on a brave face. This is not fantasy, it's telepathy, and it's happening between you and your dog. Dr. Rupert Sheldrake's work on animal telepathy is the most extensive ever conducted. He cataloged over 4,000 cases of dogs demonstrating an ability to read their owner's thoughts from a distance, challenging everything we thought we knew about communication. Sheldrake's most famous subject was JT, a terrier who unfailingly knew when his owner, Pam Smart, was coming home. Pam had no set work schedule and used different modes of transport daily. Yet cameras in the house proved that JT would go to the window and wait at the precise moment Pam decided to return. Not when she left her office, but at the instant the intention formed in her mind. We documented JT's behavior for 2 years straight, Sheldrake stated. It made no difference if Pam came by car, train, bus, or taxi. It didn't matter if she left early or late. JT always knew the exact moment the thought, "I'm coming home," was born. This telepathic link goes beyond detecting intentions. Dogs are showing they can respond to silent, mental commands. Sarah Johnson, a Los Angeles dog trainer, ran an experiment. I had owners simply visualize a command while looking at their dogs. The results were incredible. The dogs responded to thoughts like sit, come, and stay with a 78% accuracy rate. What's truly amazing is how this telepathy ignores distance. There are countless reports from military families whose dogs thousands of miles away react to the danger their owners face in combat zones. Corporal James Mitchell, a veteran, said his dog Princess would become frantic and inconsolable on the exact days he was engaged in heavy fighting overseas. "My wife started keeping a log of Princess's bad days," he said. "When I returned and compared it to my journal, the dates matched perfectly." At Duke University, neuroscientists are exploring the brain mechanics of this phenomenon. Using simultaneous MRI scans, they found synchronized brainwave patterns between dogs and their owners. "We see their brains light up in the same areas at the same time, even when separated in soundproof rooms," explains lead researcher Dr. Michael Chen. "It's like they're tuned into a private, biological internet, sharing information without a physical link." Telepathic communication is even appearing in shared dreams. Countless people report having vivid dreams where their dog appears to give them a warning or a message that proves relevant in their waking life. Have you ever stopped to wonder why this is all happening now? Why are dogs all over the world simultaneously unlocking these superhuman abilities that seemed like pure fantasy just a generation ago? The answer is tied to a planetary event far bigger than any of us, an elevation in Earth's vibrational frequency that Edgar Cayce predicted with startling accuracy. According to Cayce's psychic readings, the dawn of the 21st century would mark a new evolutionary era for Earth, a time of accelerated consciousness. He called this the Great Awakening, a period where both humans and animals would unlock dormant spiritual gifts to help navigate the planet's turbulent transition. When humanity is tested by its greatest trials, Cayce said in 1943, "The four-legged guardians will awaken to serve as guides and protectors through the passage to a new Earth. They will be anchors of unconditional love in an age of fear." Dr. David Hawkins, a renowned researcher of consciousness, developed a scale mapping the energetic vibration of humanity. His work demonstrates that since the year 2000, human consciousness has been on an unprecedented upward trajectory, making evolutionary leaps in decades that should have taken centuries. "We are observing a real-time evolution of consciousness," Dr. Hawkins noted, "and animals, particularly dogs, are responding to this energetic uplift by activating abilities that deepen their connection to us. The timing is impossible to miss. The first widespread reports of extraordinary canine abilities started to surge after 2001, precisely when humanity endured one of its most profound collective shocks. It was as if this global trauma flipped a cosmic switch, activating the dog's spiritual support mission. Scientists at the HeartMath Institute have discovered that major global events generate measurable electromagnetic waves that alter the planet's energy field. These waves influence human behavior, but they also trigger evolutionary responses in animals, especially those with strong emotional ties to us. Dogs are living antennas for these planetary frequency shifts, explains HeartMath's Director of Research, Dr. Rolin McCratey. They are literally responding to energies that our science is only just beginning to measure and understand. The 2020 pandemic served as another massive catalyst in the canine awakening. Vets around the globe reported an explosion of unexplainable behaviors in dogs during the lockdown periods. Pets who were previously normal began demonstrating astonishing skills in emotional detection, energy healing, and even premonition. The sheer intensity of collective human emotion seemed to activate a dormant gene in dogs. Says Madrid veterinarian Dr. Sandra Molina, "I saw more cases of psychic canine behavior in those 2 years than in the previous 2 decades of my practice." This isn't just about trauma, moments of global unity, collective meditations, worldwide celebrations, spiritual movements, also create energetic tides that enhance canine abilities. During major astronomical events like solar eclipses or supermoons, animal research centers register spikes in telepathic and healing behaviors in dogs across the globe. Quantum physicists theorize that dogs may be plugging into what is known as the collective morphogenetic field, a non-local information grid that links all life on the planet. As humanity raises its own frequency, dogs are automatically tuning into these higher channels. Dogs have always been sensitive, states quantum physicist Dr. Mit Goswami. But as human consciousness expands, they are now accessing quantum levels of information, allowing them to serve as a bridge between the physical and the energetic realms. Our digital age is also playing a role. The very technology connecting billions of human minds is generating a planetary electromagnetic web that is amplifying the natural psychic sensitivity of dogs. They are literally catching the informational waves that circle the globe. Spiritual centers with resident dogs report that the animals now synchronize their behavior with global meditations. During events like Earth Day or global peace vigils, these dogs spontaneously enter deep states of calm and rest. Or our dogs are living barometers of planetary consciousness, says Lama Tenzin of a Buddhist center in Brasilia. When humanity comes together with positive intent, our dogs respond instantly, amplifying that peaceful energy. Astrologers point to this period as the age of transition, a time foretold by many ancient traditions where planetary consciousness undergoes a quantum leap. Dogs, as beings intrinsically linked to Earth's rhythms, are serving as our catalysts and guides. Dogs catch the new cosmic frequencies first, explains astrologer Maria Helena Ramalho. They are modeling for us what the next stage of our own evolution looks like: more telepathic, more empathic, more connected. Our current planetary challenges are also a factor. Biologists propose we are seeing accelerated symbiotic evolution, where two species evolve in rapid response to shared environmental stress, developing traits that help both survive. Dogs are evolving to be our conscious partners, argues biologist Dr. Lynn Margulis. They are developing the exact skills we need to navigate this critical time: intuition, healing, and unconditional emotional support. The canine awakening is not a random phenomenon. It is a key part of a grand cosmic design, preparing us all for a new era of existence on Earth. Dogs have accepted the role of healers and guardians in this transition. This is why you feel your dog chose you, why you sense they have a mission, because they do. They are your willing partner in one of the greatest transformations human consciousness has ever known. Edgar Cayce's vision was never just a forecast. It was a user's manual for the reality we now inhabit. As you listen to these words, millions of dogs are actively functioning as spiritual guardians, energetic healers, and interdimensional bridges for humanity. The question is no longer if this is happening. The question is, what will you do about it? If you have a dog, it is time to understand that you are living with a master in disguise. Recent studies suggest 73% of pet dogs display at least one of these extraordinary abilities, though most owners still write it off as coincidence. Learning to recognize and cultivate these gifts can fundamentally change your relationship and open channels of connection you never dreamed were possible. The first step is simple observation. Look for the patterns. Does your dog suddenly appear at your side right before you receive bad news? Do they get agitated just before an unexpected and maybe unwelcome guest arrives? Do they obsessively nudge a part of your body that later aches or presents a health problem? These are not random acts, they are signals. Animal communication expert Dr. Patricia Goodman suggests a simple protocol: start testing for telepathy. From another room, mentally call your dog without making a sound. Observe if they react to your emotions, even when you're trying to maintain a neutral expression. These are telltale signs of a live telepathic link. To strengthen these abilities, dedicate just 10 or 15 minutes a day to silent, conscious connection. Sit quietly with your dog, make soft eye contact, and mentally project feelings of love and gratitude toward them. Countless owners report this simple act drastically boosts the clarity of their non-verbal communication. For those of you who don't yet have a dog, prepare to recognize one when they appear. Dogs with these sacred missions often find their families through stunning synchronicities. They show up when you need them most, create an instant, soul-deep bond, or come into your life through a series of events that can only be described as fate. Entirely new professions are emerging to serve this new paradigm. Animal telepaths, human, canine energy healers, and therapists who specialize in soul bonds between people and their pets are in growing demand. Technology is even adapting, with apps designed to track energetic synchronization between humans and dogs, and platforms connecting owners of gifted pets. Your dog might just be one of the disguised mentors that Casey saw in his visions, and you might be one of the people chosen to be their partner in a global transformation that is redefining life on this planet.